Okay, this isn't going to be scripted, but it's not like It's not like I need a script for this, because this is all going to come from my mind as I think about things, I guess. Because everybody needs a way to let their anger out, and this is how I have chosen to do things, so I hope people don't come into my room and decide to bother me while I do shit. But, I don't know, this is probably going to be a series about my past, because that's what I've decided on. This is probably not going to be making any logical sense at all, but I've decided this is what I want to do. And because I need a way to let things out. Like, I can't just let everything out to one person, since people are shit and they will turn their backs on you at any moment, so might as well just do it to a bunch of random people, because I don't care what random people think about me, so let's do it. And one of the first things I want to start out with is, I guess I could go in chronological order of how things have happened. I don't know. Hold on, I'm reading something. Okay, so let's start in chronological order. And I guess the first thing that I would start with is, I think the first thing I would start out with is my parents' divorce, because that's kind of where it all started for me. So, like, when I was 7 or 6, I can't exactly remember, my biological father and my mother got divorced. I was really upset. I didn't feel like it was my fault, but I still had to go to fucking counseling and shit for that, but that's not important. But anyway, they got divorced when I was really young, and, I didn't like the idea of having to spend, split time with them, because that meant I would have to spend 1 week with my mom or something like that, then the weekend with my dad, and it was just really difficult, because that meant they weren't going to live in the same house, so my childhood house, they had to move to different houses, so, my father got remarried to, a person named Carrie, and my, mother, she got remarried to a person named Jerry. And so, Carrie lived in this gross, shitty apartment with, her 3 kids. I can't remember one of the names of the kids, but I hate that person the most, so I don't know why I don't remember the name. Jake, Dean, and I think her name was like Katie or Caitlin or something like that. I don't really remember it well. But, their house was, like, horrible. Like, it was an apartment, and it was really, really, really shitty. And, like, at first, everything was really cool. Like, they were nice to me and my brother, and they treated us well. But after, like, a week or two, like, that facade dropped, like, instantaneously. It was, like, a big surprise to me when they started treating me like shit. One of the first things that I actually noticed was when the apartment they lived in burned down, so they had to move to a house. I don't watch the news. I've never really been one of the people to watch the news. 1, because I don't have cable, and 2, because I just don't have any interest in the news. So when I didn't hear about this, you want to know what Carrie decided to do? She decided to make me feel bad for not seeing that the fucking apartment burned down. And of course I explained to her why I didn't happen to see it, but she didn't want to hear that. That was the first thing that I remember her doing. This was, like, one of the first things I remember. And even looking it up, like, the fire that happened, it was in Maple Shade, I think, New Jersey. Looking it up, like, I can't find the video that she happened to show me of her disgusting face on the news. But point is, she decided to get mad at me for that, which was amazing. I just love it. My god, fucking bitch. But that's one of the first things I remember happening. And after a while of living with them, they just got colder and harsher. And fucking Carrie's children weren't much better. I found out through her one female child, which is the one I hate the most. I can't remember the name of. I'm gonna call her Caitlin. I'm gonna call her Caitlin for now. So Caitlin, like, she told me that Carrie's ex-husband had left her, and what a shock it was to me. That's sarcasm, because it wasn't. I am not surprised that her husband left. They never saw him again. Like, their biological father never saw him again. But I mean, don't blame him for leaving, because now he doesn't have to deal with their shit. I mean, he left the children too, because I know that they're gonna grow up to be just as shitty as their mother. Oh my god. Anyway, so that wasn't much of a shock to me when I heard about that, but so let me just get back on track here. So after a while, both my father and Carrie grew a lot colder, and so did the siblings. The only person that wasn't a total piece of shit was Jake. He was a really sweet kid, and I kind of miss him because he was really cool. But I don't miss anybody else. They can all go and fucking slit their own throats for all they care. But the point is, they eventually got really, really rude, and I guess I could say it was emotional abuse, because at that point, I was being put down for the littlest things, and being yelled at for no reason. They also fucking neglected us, both their stepchildren and me and my brother, and their biological children. And we would have to wait until 1 p.m. in the afternoon because they refused to wake up and make us breakfast. So sometimes we would sneak a Pop-Tart and share it with the 5 of us. A single Pop-Tart. And guess what? We would get in trouble for it. Because we're not supposed to eat until they get their lazy fat asses up and make us breakfast. I had to eat what they ate. I was vegetarian at that time, and no matter what, they would make me eat what they made me. And if I refused to eat it, or eat all of it, I would be forced to sit at the table and eat it for hours. They would force me to sit at the table and finish my fucking food, and if I didn't, guess what? I wasn't allowed to play, I wasn't allowed to sleep. They wouldn't let me do anything, and if I refused to finish the food, they would yell at me and lecture me on how there are children starving in Africa, and you not eating that food is so rude. You should feel better for having this food. Well, guess what? I have a choice on what I eat, and just because I'm living under your roof doesn't mean I have to eat the shitty food you decide to make. They were also pretty poor. And one time we went to Six Flags to go, like, through this fucking safari thing. I don't know what it was. And Carrie was driving, and she took us through to, like, pay for it. And so when Carrie told the person at the window how many people were in the car, she said there were like 3 or 4. And then the kids, we said how many there really were. And then she drove away and said that she couldn't afford that and yelled at us. And then she went through another window and made 3 of the people hide. 3 of the kids hide so that they didn't have to pay full price for the fucking safari trip. Then a lion peed on our car, so you know what, fucking karma. But I'm not even kidding, like, a lion fucking peed on the car. It was amazing. But anyway, enough of that. Fucking my father and Carrie, my biological father. I'm just gonna call him Anthony, because that's his fucking name. Anthony and Carrie, they were both huge liars. They would say these fucking horrible things about my stepfather, Jerry, and they would try and make me call them mom and dad. They tried to manipulate me and say that, Jerry's just this fucking lazy asshole who lives on your couch and eats your food, and he's not a good person. You shouldn't trust him. And after I left my house, after I left them, my mom eventually told me a lot of shit that my father used to do, so that's great. But point is, Carrie and Anthony are just so nice, and I like them so much. They made my life as a child just so great, and they're just nice enough to emotionally manipulate and abuse me and not even stop their fucking children from hurting me and bullying me in the house. It just made everything so much easier. I fucking lost my innocence in that house. My childhood was taken away from me at such a young age, it's not even funny. And sometimes I feel like I shouldn't even complain because there are people who suffer worse than me, so that automatically means I don't have any actual problems to complain about. Fuck off. I hate my fucking father. I hate Anthony. I hate Carrie. I hate Dean. I hate Caitlin. And I have a good reason to, because they ruined my life. They took away everything that made me happy, and they ruined my childhood. They took away the innocence that I had, and I hate them for it. I didn't grow up normally. I didn't grow up happily. I grew up in their rules, and I grew up to be the person they wanted me to be. They made me feel like I wasn't worth anyone's time. They made me feel like I needed to change things that I couldn't change about myself. And they made me feel like I wasn't worth shit. I was constantly put down and teased and having things pointed out about me. I have something wrong with my knee and I can't walk properly. And I was put down for not walking like a quote-unquote normal person. And they act like that's my fault. And when I realized I was gay, I didn't tell anyone because I was afraid of being put down for it. I am a lesbian, and guess what? It's not my fault. I shouldn't have to feel afraid to tell people that. I shouldn't have to be afraid to tell people how I'm feeling just because of a piece of shit that decided he was going to try and raise me. I don't even call my father anymore because he is not my father. I don't want to think he is anymore. He didn't raise me. He didn't make me into the person I should be. He ruined my life. I don't even want to be alive anymore. And if I was not so weak to pain, I would be dead because I wouldn't be afraid to just end it all. I was punished, I was yelled at, I was emotionally and verbally abused for years of my childhood, and I wasn't treated like a human being. They didn't treat me like I was worth shit. And even if I still saw my mother, I didn't tell her what was going on because I thought it was normal. I was scared that I was going to get in trouble for telling somebody what was happening to me and my brother. I was afraid that people wouldn't believe me and that I was going to be put down even more. and that sooner or later I wasn't going to be able to take it anymore. I knew sooner or later I wasn't going to be able to keep up the act that I was fine, and keep up the act that nothing was wrong with me. I couldn't keep lying about that, but I had to. In my mind, if I told somebody how I felt, I was going to be yelled at. If I vented about how I felt like people wouldn't believe me, that I would be called a liar. My father has caused so much depression and anxiety in me, and living is difficult now. My mind is broken to the point where I don't care anymore. I don't care what happens to people. I don't care about my own life or anyone else's life. I love people, of course, but I don't care what happens to them anymore. Carrie and Anthony have broken my mind. And that's not even the worst of it, because people have used me and my body because I was weak, and at the time they knew they could take advantage of me. And I'm crying, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cry, but I can't help it. And they knew how weak I was, and so they made me do things that I regret so much. And I hate them for it. I hate Caitlin. I hate my father. I hate Carrie, and I hate Dean. I hate them. I hate them with a burning passion, and if I was allowed to fucking kill them, torture them, and make them suffer without consequence, I would do it with no hesitation. Because they ruined what I had. They ruined my childhood, and they took away the innocence I tried so hard to keep. I am an adolescent. I am 15 years old, and I don't think I should have to fucking deal with this. I don't think I should have had to deal with this. I think about what I did to deserve to suffer for so many years of my childhood. I wonder what I could have possibly done to deserve such treatment from people I thought cared about me. I don't even think my father loved me. When I had accidents in my bed, I was yelled at by him. When he would take forever in the bathroom and I couldn't hold it anymore, I was yelled at. When my mother gave me stuffed animals and shirts to sleep with and they finally got ratty, my father would take them away and throw them away in front of me and tell me to stop crying when I fucking cried. I was a little kid. And my father, Anthony, thought it was okay to take away a child's life. I was spanked and hit. Maybe not as much as some kids have been, but I was still hit for misbehaving. My grandfather hit me. My mother hit me. My father hit me. Maybe it was only spanking or light hits, but it didn't matter, because you shouldn't hit your fucking child. You don't hit a child to discipline them. When my parents divorced, my mother had cancer, and it was hard for me enough at that time because I thought she was going to fucking die. She had cancer, and even if I was too young to understand what cancer really was, I knew she might die. And during that time, I wasn't supported by my father. I wasn't supported by anybody. I was still bullied at school. I was still put down by my fucking Anthony and Carrie. I was still treated like shit. And my mother was fucking dying in the hospital with cancer. I am happy she is alive today, because if she wasn't, I would have to live with my father. And I probably would have killed myself by this point. I hate my grandfather. My grandfather was a piece of shit. He treated my grandmother like shit. He treated me and my brother like shit. Whenever I had to spend time with him, guess what? He was on the recliner drinking wine. Ignoring me, and telling me to shut up whenever I spoke around him. He didn't do any work around the house, and when me and my brother misbehaved, he would hit me with a wooden spoon until I was crying and my grandmother had to stop him. Because that's how they were disciplined, so obviously that means that it's okay. That obviously means it's okay to hit me. Because it's how you were brought up. Well, guess what, Grandpa? Guess what? I don't care if that's how you were brought up. You don't fucking hit a child. I am so happy that you are fucking dead. It's what you deserve, and I hope that you're rotting in hell where you definitely belong. I hate my grandfather. I hate him, and I'm not sorry for that. There is so much wrong with the way I was treated from my family. There are so many bad things, and I can't even remember a lot of them, because I've blocked them out, and eventually I forgot them. But every day I was tormented by my father, and I was tormented by Carrie. I'm trying to get into the fucking thing of calling my father Anthony instead of my father, because he's not my father. He's not my fucking father. He can jump off a cliff. I hope he dies. I just do. He doesn't deserve to live. I'm happy to be the person I am today, but I'm not happy that I had to deal with so much shit as a child. I have PTSD, I also have social anxiety, and I have depression, and I also might have antisocial personality disorder. Because I didn't grow up right. I didn't grow up as a normal kid. I wasn't treated right in school either, because guess what? I wasn't normal. I was never taught to be normal. And I had to learn on my own that if I wanted to be treated properly, I was going to have to pretend to be normal like everybody else. If I wanted to be treated like a human being in my classes, I was going to have to pretend to be normal. And it's not that hard once you learn. I have been acting normal for all my life, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of lying, and I'm tired of pretending to be someone I'm not, just so that I can fit in with the rest of this shitty fucking world. I'm not gonna lie anymore, and that's my choice. I'm not gonna pretend to be nice to people. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm such a good person, because I'm not. I'm an asshole. I don't like people. I like who I decide to like. I care about who I decide to care about. And I don't care who gets hurt. I don't care if you are hurt. I don't care if I hurt you. Because guess what? That's how I've felt for all my life. And I'm tired of pretending to be something I'm not. It's better to be hated for what you are rather than to be loved for a lie. Being loved for a lie is retarded. I'm sorry, but it's fucking stupid. I'm so done living my life and fitting social norms because I've never done that before. I have never been normal. And it's hard for me to be normal. I don't want to be normal anymore. I don't want to try and fit social norms because I am not normal. I am going to be ranting more because this is only part 1. Guess what? There's gonna be like 2 more parts because 2 more things happened. Oh my god, maybe a 3rd part because there's just so much wrong with what my life is now. But anyway, this was part 1 of a ranting series. I hope that you liked it. I'm going to go now. Goodbye. You will see me in the next ranting video.